Time to move on to our business. And of course, who better than Kate Moody to join us? Good evening to you, Kate. Tomorrow, Tuesday, will mark the official end of France's second lockdown period, but restaurants and bars are set to remain closed. The Economy Minister says he can't guarantee they'll be allowed to reopen in January as planned. Clearly not the news they were looking for. Tell us more, Kate.
No, diners either. We're hoping for some more clarity there. The hospitality industry had been eyeing January the 20th when the government initially indicated it hoped that restaurants and cafes would be allowed to reopen. But the pandemic, we know, is far from under control here in France. And this morning, Bruno Le Maire told France Inter Radio that the date is not set in stone. It will depend really on the health situation. If the relaxing of restrictions for the Christmas holidays leads to a spike in infections, restaurants are likely to remain closed for some time to come. Le Maire saying that the industry will continue to have access to things like the state-sponsored furlough payments for out-of-work employees, as well as payroll tax breaks, financial compensation, and loans to help them get by. Many in the industry, though, say this just simply isn't enough. Representatives of the hospitality and tourism industries were protesting in central Paris today. They say they're not being given enough visibility about their future. Unions say that a quarter of French restaurants could go bust even despite this government support. We know, of course, the arts industry has also been protesting the decision to keep cinemas, theatres and museums closed until at least early January.
We will wait and see how that one develops, Kate. Of course, it's a very flexible deadline where COVID-19 is concerned. Meanwhile, France's central bank has warned the economy won't rebound as quickly as initially expected.
Yeah, the level of economic activity in France isn't expected to hit its pre-pandemic levels until mid-2022 at the earliest. France's central bank says the second lockdown will see GDP shrink about 8% in December. It'll be a 9% contraction for 2020 as a whole. The economy is then expected to rebound about 5% next year. That's not as strong as the 7.4% bounce that the bank had been predicting just a few months ago. And that's because the impact of the vaccines that are being rolled out won't be felt until probably the end of next year. The central bank also expects unemployment in France to peak at around 11% in the first quarter of 2021. The bank's top governor has also been issued a warning that the government needs to keep an eye on its debt levels. Government debt set to hit about 120% of GDP this year because of the emergency support and stimulus measures. And while he said it was really necessary to continue to support businesses and households, it will come at a cost. And he said that the state's going to have to start paying back some of that money that it's been raising as early as 2022, when the full effects of the pandemic probably won't yet have disappeared.
Okay, Brexit trade talks are continuing after the UK and the EU leaders agreed to extend their Sunday deadline, and I'm wondering how the markets are responding.
Well, on tenterhooks like the rest of us, Mark, but the extension of those talks this weekend did give a boost to the British currency market, still pricing in some sort of a last-minute deal here, even if it winds up being a bit of a fudge. But we saw sterling trading at around $1.33, still just under €1.10 there, but still rising slightly today. This is a real barometer of investor concern about the UK's future relationship with the EU. Last week, we saw the pound dropping nearly 2% overall, as leaders warned that the chances of a no deal were rising. Very, very jittery here, though, as we wait for more news from Brussels. Now, that stronger currency pushed down stocks on London's FTSE 100, but we saw other major European indices rising. The CAC 40 up about 1/3% here in Paris. The Frankfurt DAX up about 0.8, despite the news that Germany is heading back into a full strict lockdown. Wall Street's also trending higher as the U.S. begins to ship out doses of that Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine. The NASDAQ up about 1% this hour. Reports suggest that U.S. lawmakers are inching towards some kind of a compromise on another round of relief funds. Millions of people who've lost their jobs because of the pandemic could lose financial support at the end of this year if there isn't a breakthrough.
Kate Moody with the business. Thank you very much indeed. A lot of what Kate was talking about there will be echoed in our France 24 debate. We're examining the situation regarding Brexit and that basic search for a trade deal between the UK and the EU. Kate, thank you very much indeed. Kate giving me lots of ideas for questions for our panel of experts who will be joining us. And of course, as we're talking about it, the negotiators in Brussels will be head to head. So a little bit of a parallel going on there for you.